0 wins, 0 goals, and 21 conceded in 6 games. This would be a terrible spell for any side, but if you're San Marino, it's pretty much what you're used to. A very tough Euro qualification for them so far. Ryan, they're just a side that doesn't score many goals.
They are, throughout their history, since becoming a FIFA registered nation, somewhat of a blunt instrument. And they've not had, as you quite aggressively pointed out there, mate, I will add, you've straight from the start of this, you've put the San Marino fans on the back foot by outlining just how blunt they are and how much of a rough campaign they've had so far. So that really shines a light on it. Before we hopped on, because I know we want to chat through San Marino briefly, and we want to talk about their upcoming game against Northern Ireland. And the focus of our conversation is how many goals, are they going to score, essentially? Is this an opportunity for them to score? So with that in mind, I wanted to do a bit of digging and find out some numbers behind their goal scoring exploits throughout their history, or lack of, shall we say. So I've got some humdingers. Do you want me to? I'm just going to fire away with some of these.
Hit me with
before we get into some other bits of chin wagging, if you're cool with that. So, as you know, mate, they have played 6, lost 6, not scored a goal in Euro 24 qualification so far. They've got a tricky group nonetheless. Anyway, so also in Euro 2024 qualification, they have had the second lowest number of shots, only 17, and the second lowest number of shots on target. I guess how many shots on target they've had?
In 6 games, from 17 shots, I'm going to go with 7.
Oh, close. It's 5. They've got 5.
Okay.
They've had 5 on target. Guess who's bottom of that list? So they're second bottom, San Marino. Guess who's bottom of that list?
For shots on target.
Shots and shots on target.
Who's bottom of that list? It's not San Marino. Gibraltar?
Bang on. Fair play to you. So anyway, so that's just painting a picture. They haven't been peppering the goal. The last time that they scored was in the doubleheader against St. Lucia back in November of last year with a late equaliser in the first game. That one finished 1-1. And then I was looking at their historical goal scoring. I keep calling them goal scoring exploits, but I quite like that. So their historic goal scoring exploits in when they've participated in European Championships qualification, those qualification campaigns. So they've played in 76 games across 8 qualification campaigns. And that's excluding this one. Sorry, worth noting that. So they've drawn 1 of those 76 games. They've lost 75. Goals. How many goals do you think they've scored? 76 games.
8?
Bang on. Did you research this before?
No, not fully.
Absolutely bang on. So they've scored 8 goals. So that's 1 goal every 9.5 games. Their most goals in a campaign was they scored 2 in the 2008 qualification campaign, and they also scored 2 in the 1996 campaign. In the 2008 qualification campaign, you'll like this, both of their goals came in 2-1 home defeats against Wales and the Republic of Ireland. The Republic of Ireland defeat was a 94th minute winner for the Republic of Ireland. Just interesting, just throwing out some facts here. 1996 campaign, 3-1 home loss to the Faroe Islands and a 4-1 away defeat to Finland. So that's European qualification campaigns. They are slightly goal shy. I looked at World Cups. Again, they've played in 8 campaigns. They've played the same number of games, but they've actually scored 12. Their most goal-laden campaign was actually in the 2002 World Cup qualification campaign, where they scored 3 goals. Since 1990... Sorry, am I going in too hard?
No,
I'm painting... I wanted to paint the picture. Since 1990... they've only scored 28 goals ever. Erling Haaland scored more last season for Man City in his debut Premier League campaign. So now that I have painted said picture, Northern Ireland is their next game. They're away to Northern Ireland. They've scored, as we've already outlined, 0 goals. They've already played Northern Ireland at home, which would have probably been the fixture to pinpoint, can they get the goal? They're away this time. Where do we want to go from here, mate? And I guess I'm going to throw it back to you. Are they going to break the duck?
You've brilliantly summarised. And no, I'd looked.
You were impressed about it, weren't you?
I was impressed. I'd looked. I'd had a sweeping look at all of their results ever. And so the number 8 was just roughly guessing out of those games. So it was a reasonable guess. Do you know in which game, do you know how many, the most goals they've ever scored in a game?
2 in one. It was a 2-2 draw against Liechtenstein back in 2003, 2004. Yeah.
That
Dude,
was
mate, I'm like that.
there.
Isn't there that stat Dave that does the podcast? I'm that of this podcast, of our channel. Sorry.
Yeah,
2 goals. They've done it once.
Yeah, they did it once, and then like 5 months later is when they got that win in 2004.
Yes.
Against their results against Liechtenstein aren't even that bad. They're the one nation they can seem to do all right against. This group's tough. I did a preview before the group about how it was one of the groups of death because it's just a consistently challenging group. You could argue that Gibraltar's group with France and others in is harder, but I think with this, it's just, Northern Ireland is still a solid team despite potentially being the second worst. You've got Kazakhstan are a very good side in there as well. Their home games, I don't know what the breakdown is for home and away of all of their goals that they've ever scored, but a lot of them seem to come at home.
They do better at home.
They do. A lot of them in sort of 3 or 4-1 defeats, it seems to be. So they've arguably missed their best chance with that home defeat to Northern Ireland, in which they had 3 shots, 1 on target. Not very many. The big problem for them about whether or not they're going to break their duck in this game or across the rest of this campaign is that they never seem to have their best players. For a nation that is the lowest ranked in the world and remains the lowest ranked, they've gone up a few places recently because teams have dropped out of the FIFA World Rankings, Eritrea, teams like that. So they're at 207 at the minute, the highest they've been for 5 years because of teams just not being in the rankings anymore. They never seem to have their best players. They never seem to have Nani available. They never seem to have Berardi available. And these are their sort of top attacking threats. I actually think, and as has been shown by games they've played against Seychelles when they drew and St. Lucia and things like that, defensively, they're not awful. They are obviously the worst team in the world. But if you were to play them against some of the other teams in and around them in the FIFA World Rankings, Turks and Caicos Islands 203, BVI 205, I think that they'd keep clean sheets against these sort of sides. It's just in these tougher campaigns, they concede at least 2 in a game, and their potency up front is just so poor. However, part of the issue with Northern Ireland is that they're almost not good enough to beat them 10-1. Northern Ireland, hear me out on this.
I was going to say, where are you going? Okay.
Northern Ireland are not going to score enough goals to completely switch off mentally. I wonder of San Marino's goals, how many of them have come at a point where a team is already 4-0 up?
So you don't think Northern Ireland are going to score 4 or more in this one?
No. Okay. I think it will be 3-0. So I do think that the duck will continue. I think that the more goals Northern Ireland score, the greater the chance of San Marino scoring.
Right, okay. Because they rotate loads, bring on the youngsters, dish some caps out, people switch off.
Put it this way.
In. Right, okay.
There are 81.7 thousand followers of the San Marino fan account on Twitter. And that account will be tweeting very miserably if they're 5-0 down at halftime. But I think you're more likely to get the goal, Forza Titani tweet.
Yeah.
If it's 5-0 to Northern Ireland at halftime. I feel like if Northern Ireland are 1-0 up at halftime and get another goal around sort of 70, they'll have to stay mentally switched on. And San Marino just won't be able to break them down.
So what we want then is the Minnow Nation channel, the Minnow Nation lovers that we are, is we want San Marino to go 6-0 down, ideally, as soon as they possibly can, so that Northern Ireland switch off. And
I'm surprised they don't do this more anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they almost try too hard. No, it's a difficult one, but I don't know. If you were to ask a San Marino fan, would you rather lose every game 2-0 or lose every game 6-1?
That's quite different, though, isn't it?
But what would they say?
They'd probably say 2-0, mate, wouldn't they?
If
you were to say 2-0 or 3-1, they're saying 3-1.
3-1.
But
at what point do you think it switches?
6-1.
Yeah.
Probably 5-1, I'd say. I reckon you take 4-1 over a 2-0 defeat. Well, I'm thinking though, would you want to see West Ham lose 4-1 or 2-0?
It's different. Goal difference doesn't matter if you lose every game.
Yeah, true. The thing is, mate, right, I'm going to go back. So I don't think they're going to score in this game. I don't think they're going to score in the rest of the campaign. Let's bring this one. Let's neaten this one up. I think the next time that they'll have a chance to score will be the next time that the UEFA Nations League comes around and they can play those lower ranked teams. But they have already competed in a version of that, and I don't think they scored, did they?
They got 2 0-0 draws.
So they still haven't scored. They are just.
They played the Seychelles at home.
And yeah, it's just a blunt. It's a blunt instrument, mate. They need Andy Silva.
Who do they need to play in a friendly
to score?
To guarantee a goal?
The Dog and Duck. No. The Falkland Islands.
They would. Yeah, I think they'd score against the Falklands.
They thrashed them. Chagos Islands ripped them up.
I think that would be a good game.
Who wins? Chagos, San Marino.
If the San Marino team came over to Crawley and played against the Chagosians,
San Marino would win that. Although, can they do it on a cold?
Can they do it on a rainy night in Crawley?
Don't know.
I don't know. Can they do it on a rainy night in Northern Ireland? As we do digress, I think Northern Ireland will win this one, and I do believe that. Well, I mean that's not a big statement, is it? But I believe in a bizarre twist of fate that San Marino would need to concede more to have a chance of scoring.
Nice, and it's that expert opinion that you get from D&Q that you won't get anywhere else.
You won't get it. When this game finishes 6-1, you'll come back and thank me.
Mate, if it does, I will owe you a big apology. For those people that are still with us, make sure you do drop a like on this video and leave a comment below. What do you think the score will be? Do you think San Marino will score in the rest of this Euro qualification campaign? If not, when do you think they would likely score? Would it be that next UEFA Nations League, as we've alluded to? And also, if you've got a spare bit of time, which nation do you think San Marino would have the highest chance to score a goal against? Anything else from you, mi amigo?
Nothing more from me. You've summed it up perfectly. And as always, we'll see you next time.